Good morning, guys. Well, morning-ish. Today's Monday. Start of a new week, busy week, guys. So oh my god, I've actually got great news. Great news to start the vlog off with, okay? As many of you know, sorry for the sun, I launched a free episode of Red Room last week. So kind of launched Red Room into the public, which was quite nerve-wracking. I was afraid. I was kind of nervous. It's, you know, I explained it all in the last vlog. Anyway, great news. It's number 3. It's number 3 in the Irish charts in society and culture. Boom! I'm fucking delighted. So I actually got an email because you kind of automatically get signed up for like chart tracking kind of things when you have a podcast. And I got an email saying it was number 1, but that was from 2 days ago. So it's obviously going to number 3, but like, hello, fucking successful ass podcast. I'm delighted with that. So I'm actually, to celebrate that, I'm going to try and get another free episode up, like an exclusive one, like so one that everyone can enjoy, be new for patrons, it'll be obviously new in general. I'm going to try and get that up before Christmas, just as a thank you to everyone who listened and to everyone who signed up. But today we're doing research all day, well, all morning and afternoon for this week's podcast. So I am looking into sleep paralysis, very interesting, and I've got a few other topics, and I don't think I'll actually get them all in the one episode, so whatever's left I'll do the free episode on, I think, maybe a mini episode, but I'm really excited for that. So I'm going to get my head down. Later on I'm seeing James. We're going to go see House of Gucci. Fun fact, James and I became friends because of Lady Gaga. Like, we met in the club when we were younger, but it was Lady Gaga that like fully made our bond so real, because we were both so, like, it was the year that Just Dance came out, and she was on in the club all the time, and James and I would go insane when we'd hear specifically Paparazzi, and we were just so young and in love, guys. Sorry, Ella's here moaning beside me if you can hear her. We were just young, and now we didn't get to see A Star Is Born together, but we're going to go see House of Gucci tonight in the Stella. Very excited for that. And then tomorrow we've loads to do as well. I'm getting my braces back on tomorrow, guys. But I don't care, because it's all worth it. If you guys want me to talk about like Invisalign, I can probably do that maybe next week. I had Invisalign on for like from October 2020 to, I think I got them off in June. And what happened was this bar, I have a bar on both top and bottom. The bar on my top teeth snapped off. It was so Murphy's Law. It was literally like the day after I went in for a checkup. And then I was in Mexico, and then it can just be hard to get an appointment with them, and my teeth had just moved, and I went in, and like my ortho was like, look, your teeth are fine obviously, but like this tooth specifically, which is the tooth that I wanted to I went for, because it was really fucked up, if you remember. He was like, that's moved a bit, and I had a free round. You get refinements with Invisalign, and I had a free round of refinements. So he was like, you can either get it fixed now, it might take 2 months, 3 months maybe, or you might in a year want to get it done, you'd have to pay the full whack again. And I was like, baby, sign me up. I don't mind about Invisalign at all. So I'm getting them on tomorrow. Getting my brows done tomorrow, getting some Christmas glam done. Trees up. This tree, do you know what? This tree smells amazing. Our tree last year did not smell at all, which was the only complaint Evan and I had about it. This one smells amazing. Anyway, I'm going to get to work, and we'll check in a bit. She does this thing where like, she like scratches her ass and her back off the table. Is that nice, Elle? You get that scratch. I'm working away on Evan's desk. And I feel like when you were a kid and you'd use like your dad's computer or like your dad's desk to study for the Leaving Cert. Because I usually go in our spare room, but there's so much shit in there, I need to clean it up. Anyway, let's get to work. Okay, so I am on my way now to go see House of Gucci with James. Evan offered me the car, and I was like, you know what, I actually just couldn't be arsed driving to Rathmines in rush hour. I'll just get the doors. It's so fucking cold. Kind of regret it. Anyway, off we go. So back from House of Gucci. Film is so good, like amazing. I obviously didn't get any footage with James because the two of us were too busy shiting on chatting, but he was there. I was not there on my own. But yeah, if you want to go see House of Gucci, you should. I met someone who was there who watches the vlog, so hello. I'm in the studio now. Evan's finishing off some painting. Gonna go home and get some food, but I'll see you all tomorrow. XXX. Hi. Today's not a pretty day. There's a category red or whatever weather warning. Sorry if you can hear my egg thing smashing. I'll be gentle. And it's not like, I mean, look at this. I know overexposed, but that's because of the sunshine. Anyway, my brow appointment was postponed till tomorrow, which actually worked out great for me, if I'm honest, because I was able to finish off the order for today's episode. Although I always have my episodes kind of planned out like about 6 weeks ahead. And I have a rough idea and a rough kind of guide of what I'm going to talk about. I like to record them almost like just the day before or 2 days before they go out, just because in case anything pops up, you know, that way, that I can cover on the intro. But this week we're talking about sleep and some weird kind of experiments that have gone on around sleep, a bit of astral projection, sleep paralysis. It's very interesting. Have to say, it's been a while since I've done an episode like this, which is more on consciousness and physics and stuff. Now, I'm no physicist, don't get me wrong, but I do find that kind of shit really interesting. Anyway, I have to go into town anyway, either way, because I'm going to train with Fiona, but before that I'm getting my Invisalign back on, hopefully. Every time I go in there, they're like, okay, another fucking mold. I'm pretty sure I'm getting them on today, which I'm happy about. And I'm going to train, then I come home. But before that, I'm making some eggs on toast. I saw it on James's Instagram. He was having like just soft-boiled eggs with toast and butter, and I was like, and I need to eat something before I train, because by the time I'm training it's going to be 2 o'clock and I'll be starving, and it's not good to go that long without food. So I'm going to make that, head into town, and you guys are going to come along with me. No sooner do I say I hope my Invisalign, oh my hair, are ready. My Steph, I know you watch the vlog, so hi Steph. Steph texted me, the nurse who works with my orthodontist, and they're still in like production. I'm presuming it's probably a supply chain issue like everything else in the world at the moment, but at least I got to know early, so I haven't left my house yet, which is key. But I'm still going to go in and train because I need to get my ass in gear. Literally, I need to start training again. I've been really, like, this time of year, as you all know, you're fucking busy as fuck, or you just are like going out, and my birthday, like, oh god, I just have not been consistent. I need to like get I need to join a gym. Obviously I was boxing in a local place up until kind of recently, but it's just the times just don't suit me anymore. They're on in the evening, they're on at like 7 o'clock, and 7 o'clock on a Tuesday I'm always prepping for the episode the next day, and the next day Thursday, and I just haven't been making it, if I'm honest, so I had to cancel my membership there. Hopefully I'll be able to go back. But I need like a gym to join, and I'd love it to be walking distance. I know, picky bitch, to my house, but like there is one down the road, the arena in Malahide. It's just so expensive. Like, it's so pricey. I think it's like 700 quid for the year or something, which I guess is like 50 quid a month, which isn't the worst. Let's see how bad this light is. Yeah, so 50 quid a month obviously isn't the worst value for a gym, and it has a sauna. Now the pool is shite, so like it has a pool, but like, you know, those real 90s pools that like have like fucking the lounging white women sculptures and all. It's like you wouldn't be swimming in it. And obviously, like, I actually do like to swim in the pool because I used to swim as a kid, and that's why I used to be in Markovitz gym in town, and it's a tiny gym. It's like Dublin City Council, but it had a pool, a really good pool, and has a sauna. But I want something that's close to me, because when I go into town, I'll train with Fiona and Dave, and that's obviously great because it's like PT. But I need something for during the week that like I can still do legs if I miss leg day, because I'm just doing like Fiona's program, you know, that way I'm just turning up and being like, what are we doing today, bitch? Anyway, long ass speech, but we will still be going into town, but I'm just going to get a little bit more work done beforehand, which actually works out better. Then I'll come home, record the episode, edit the episode, cook dinner. before he jump squats. And I'm dead. Okay, we are back at home. I put on a tracksuit. It is freezing outside. Freezing. Not as stormy as it was supposed to be. Stormy, baby. But it is cold. So I'm gonna make a bowl of miso soup. Loads of people asked how I made it last time. Miso soup is pretty much, I mean, I'll show you. I'm gonna show you how I make my miso soup. It is not the traditional recipe. I'm missing a few ingredients, but like, it does the job. Do you know what I mean? Okay, ingredients wise, very minimal, guys. Water. You're gonna need miso paste. So white miso paste, not red. I think you can probably use whatever, but white miso paste is what you should use. Excuse me. I also put in some chili garlic sauce or paste, whichever one you have. And then some spring onions as well. And then also some yakinori or some seaweed. I will cut this up into kind of almost noodle shapes and have them like that. Okay, so in here I have about 350 mils of water, and I'm going to put in a tablespoon of miso paste. And we're going to get a whisk and whisk it up until there's no lumps. So I always taste it there, and that tasted a little bit too strong for me. I'm just not good at like how much water to put in. So I'm going to bring that up from, oh sorry, that was actually only 250. I'm going to bring it up to 300. Okay, to me that tastes good. So now let's make the soup all together. Okay, so in the pot I have a teaspoon of the chili paste, and now I'm going to put in my chopped up spring onions. So excuse me for doing this with a teaspoon, I just couldn't be bothered getting in a spatula. I just give them a little bit of a stir. I have it on low, like on number 5, just to kind of let the flavours open up. Okay, so after these flavours have opened up, you are just going to add in the stock that you made beforehand, the miso stock, and just kind of let that simmer for a few minutes. Okay, so here's my sheet of seaweed. What I'm going to do is just fold it again, and then at the creases, like here, I'm going to cut it, and then at these creases here, I'm going to cut them. Now you have 4 little sheets, and then I just cut them long ways. Okay, and now all you do is add into the soup, and that will just melt itself. I got these spoons in, well, guess, the Asian market, and they're perfect for ramen and miso soup. So it's kind of hot, and I'm just going to let it cool down a bit. If you're like me, I'm one of those people who likes to drink their coffee almost lukewarm, same with my soup. So I'm just going to let that cool a little bit, eat it, and then record this week's podcast. Hey guys, so for the end of this video, I want to talk, I'm going to give my take, which I feel like everyone's giving a take on the fucking new Sex and the City at this point, but I've been asked for my take, so I want to have somewhere that I can direct people to go to listen to my take. So obviously, if you're watching this, there's going to be spoilers. I'm going to be talking about the first 2 episodes. I watched them back to back, so I can't really differentiate which one was which. So if you haven't watched both of them, I'd advise you not to listen or to watch this, because I'm going to be talking about them both. But you should. Come on, who hasn't watched it already if you're into it? But yeah, I'm not going to hold back. There's going to be spoilers. I'm going to talk about what happened, etc, etc. So that's your warning. Okay, so, and just like that, as you all know, I'm a huge Sex and the City fan, always have been, blah, 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 blah. I was very skeptical going into, when I heard that there is going to be a new episode or a new season of the show. Because, let's not lie, the movies were a shit show. The first movie, I guess, kind of got away with being not great because, oh, I look like a mushroom, because it was so many years since the TV show. Everyone just wanted to see the gals again, so they kind of got away with it that time. The second one, so bad, as we all know, no need for me to recap this, but that is why I obviously was a bit like skeptical. I didn't really know what to expect, but I was excited. Obviously Michael Patrick King directed it again, and he did the 2 movies, but I feel like they got it this time, and that they got what people wanted. Like, people loved Carrie for the fashion and all that kind of shit, but I feel like they realized that people want the storyline. Obviously Instagram and everything kind of gave it a bit of a rejuvenation over the past few years. One thing that I said going into and I said it probably about a year ago, or maybe just when we found out, I was like, this show is going to be so fucking woke. I knew it, because I mean, the show obviously did lack a lot of diversity the first time around. Now, there's arguments for and against that. The argument being very critical of the lack of diversity would be like, New York is obviously a really diverse place to live. Like, it's kind of crazy that they didn't really show that. I agree with that. However, I also agree that like the kind of world that they existed in New York was very much this kind of like upper class, privileged white woman world, and they were showing that authentically, as in they are quite tone deaf. We all remember that episode, very awkward episode to look back on actually, where Samantha dates the black guy, and they didn't really handle that well, but it was very 90s, very of the time. But obviously the show has to grow up, the show has to kind of exist in the modern world, so we always knew it was going to be really woke. I think it's a bit of a like meh take when people just only critique it being woke, because like we knew that was going to happen, but it's more about like how do they navigate it. So that's kind of the first thing I noticed in the show, that like obviously within the first like 15 minutes they were throwing out pronouns, they had non-binary people in it, they had like, you know, representation of other races, which I thought was good. Like, and they had some old characters come back into it as well, which was great. I found it funny that they had Charlotte be the one like fangirling over Lisa Todd Wexley, who is like this cool mom in her kids' school, because obviously we know there's the whole like woke Charlotte trope, and that Charlotte like in the TV shows was probably the most conservative socially, and then like there's like the whole meme that was made on Instagram of like woke Charlotte, her calling out like injustices and stuff like that. So I thought that was almost like on the nose. I thought it was quite good. I'm presuming that character is going to maybe become almost like a fourth. Obviously we remember that Kim Cattrall said that she wanted them to give the character to Samantha to a black actress. I don't think that would have worked, just insofar that like I don't want to be told that this is Samantha and it was Samantha all along. I prefer for a new character to come in, and that's fine. So then obviously we go on. I had to laugh that Carrie was a podcaster. I thought that was great. I thought it made sense. I like that she's like kind of a boomer trying to navigate like Instagram, and she doesn't really get podcasting. I thought it was really funny that she was kind of shit at podcasting. Like when the character Shay was asking her about masturbation and she was just like giggling. I thought that was really funny. And then Shay came in the elevator after, and they asked her like, you know, or they said to her like, you can't be like just giggling in the corner, you have to like talk back and forth to us. I thought that was funny. And I thought it made sense for her character that she'd be going into podcasting and trying to be Instagrammable and all that kind of shit, and not really being great at it, but going along with it anyway. I kind of thought it was shit that they made like Miranda out to be someone who's like, it was a funny kind of like curveball from Miranda's character that she now is kind of backwards. Like she's like, I draw the line at podcasting. It's like, really? Like, who draws the line of podcasting these days? I just find that kind of strange. So then we'll move on to Miranda's character. Good segue. So Miranda's going back to college, which definitely that's on par for her character. I could see her doing that. And we later on find out that she like is going back to college because like she was like, I felt like I couldn't do anything during the travel ban, and like I don't want to be part of the problem anymore. And I find her whole character to be an interesting one. I don't know if it's like I'm really happy with the evolution of her character, just so much that like I really liked Miranda's character in the original show, but I think it's interesting. So basically Miranda obviously in the original show was kind of the woke one, if you ask me. Like she was the one who, less so sexually, that was obviously Samantha, but she was kind of more so like calling them out for only talking about men. She was definitely very like feminist of a character. She, you know, never put men first, she put herself first a lot of the time. she was like very career driven, very that 90s kind of feminist character, which was, you know, very 90s white liberal feminist, okay? And I find it really funny, and there's been a lot of critique over it actually, again on the whole woke thing about her character. There's a really awkward scene of her going to college, and she comes in the room and like she makes all these really awkward remarks to the lecturer about her braids, and then she's like, oh, I'm not saying that because blah blah blah, and like all the Gen Zers are like laughing at her, and she knows like the trans Gen Zers pronouns immediately, and that's called out. But I found it funny because it's kind of on the nose with the wokeness. I found it a funny way to go around the wokeness, that like these four women used to be the coolest and the most in the know New Yorkers. Now they're kind of boomers, and now seeing them navigate Gen Z is very interesting to me. And I don't think they would have been able to do that if it was more them navigating millennials, like my generation. I don't think there's enough of a gap. Like they're kind of Gen X, are they Gen Xers? Doesn't really matter anyway. But you know what I mean? Like I feel like millennials, not too much of a difference, but them navigating Gen Zers in college, I think that's funny. And I think the way they navigated the wokeness was almost like not making fun of wokeness, but almost kind of showing how maybe their generation feel with trying to keep up with like things like pronouns and like critical race theory and anti-racism and all of those things that you hear about now on Instagram, or like all of those things that you hear about just in the last like specifically 2 years since BLM and everything like that. So I found that actually I found they did it really good. Obviously it was so hard to watch. Like it was so awkward to watching Miranda do that. I was like, but I think it was, I do think it's an interesting character decision that like, as we can tell, she's not keeping up with like stuff like podcasts, whereas like in the past I kind of feel like she would have, and she is that kind of like, she's doing the kind of typical kind of white savior things, but that is very of that white feminist generation to do. Like they're trying to do their best, but they're actually kind of putting their foot in their mouth. I found it really funny actually, and really well done, the scene where the professor, I think it was Professor Wallace, was it? She is trying to get through the security, and the security guard is like asking for her ID, and then Miranda starts to be like calling it out, and she's like, that's what I learned from anti-racism, that I was supposed to call out moments of injustice. And the professor's like, but did you really make it any better? He literally just wanted my ID. You actually made a bit of a show of me. And I was like, that's really interesting, because people are saying that the wokeness is a bit self-serving. I actually think that it's quite self-aware. I think that that particular scene, I think it was in episode 2, was done really well, in that like Miranda was trying to do all the things that you learn on Instagram, and like the professor was like, also you have to think of the real world. Like don't like use me as like your little pat on the back for the day of like being an anti-racist. Like I just had to get my ID, I showed my ID and I got in, no problem. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really good. Let's go on to Charlotte. So Charlotte has an interesting, I mean, she's kind of the same. There's not much progression there. She didn't like have much progression in her character whatsoever really in the show. My prediction is they're gonna make her daughter trans. I can just pick it up. I can see that. And that will be interesting, because Charlotte is meant to be this very like cookie cutter, you know, Upper East Side, waspy kind of character. For her to kind of like navigate something like trans issues, having a trans child, having you know, like all of that kind of stuff. I think that will be interesting. That is my, I do kind of think that's gonna happen, that's how they're gonna kind of tackle that issue. Okay, elephant in the room. This is where we're gonna go into real big spoilers, so you've been warned. Big is dead. I heard rumors, and I don't even know where I heard the rumors. Like, you'd swear I have an in, I don't. I heard rumors or suspicions that they were going to be killing Big. I did hear this. And at first I remember hearing this and going, oh God, I don't know how I think about this. Obviously when I saw it happening, I was shook. I was like furious at them as well, because I was like, Carrie, fucking call 911, bitch. Stop like hugging your dying husband in the shower. Like, what the fuck? That was annoying. of course it was fucking Charlotte again, like Charlotte fucking, it was very true to her character, like forcing her, like that annoying bitch who's like, you have to come to my child's thing, and you're like, I just want to go on holidays, but okay, I'll come to your child's thing. Interesting. I liked how they dealt with that as well, and that Carrie actually does in the second episode seem to kind of like blame Charlotte almost, and they have that, which is interesting because they're dealing with grief, but I'm going to get to that in a second. So Big, clearly he has a big old fucking heart attack. At first, did I resist? Absolutely. However, I have thought about this, and here's my controversial statement, my fucking hot take. I think them killing Big is the only way they can achieve the original depth and character progression that they had in the first, like in the original Sex and the City. I don't think it's ever going to go back to that, don't get me wrong. However, stick with me. Let's look at the history of Carrie and Big's relationship, and even just including the films, okay? Films, the problem with the films, and I mentioned at the start, they lacked depth. They were a veneer, they were glossy, they were shiny, it was like all the tropes, but there was no depth, there was no character progression, there was no believability, and there was no rawness. And the rawness is what took us in on Sex and the City. Even though their lives seemed so unattainable, there was so much you could relate to the women about, and so much in their relationships that you could relate to. You also have to take into account that like the core audience, like the audience of people, not core, I shouldn't use that word, but the audience of people who watched this on TV when they were a similar age are a similar age to them now. Now, obviously, so many other generations have discovered Sex and the City since, so it's not only about them relating, but I do find that like age has to be taken into account. So, what the films lacked, as I said, was depth, and what the films lacked was like grit. They tried in the first film by getting Carrie stood up at the altar, but then she just ended up going back to Big and getting with Big, which was fine, and we were happy that she ended up with them, but like it didn't really slap. They needed to shake shit up. Otherwise, it was just going to be a Where Are They Now 8-part special. Carrie's so happy with Big. Miranda's so happy with Steve. Charlotte's so happy with Harry. Oh, her kid might be gay or trans. Like, that was going to be it. There was going to be no fucking donkey punch. And we were all donkey punched when Big fucking died. I think now we have a show that's interesting. Now we have a show that's going to be dealing with being a widow. We have a show that's going to be dealing with Carrie possibly navigating 21st century dating. She's going to be on Tinder. She's going to be going through grief. These are things, when I talk about the age, these are things that age group, not so much that like you have to think of your fucking husband, touch bloody wood, dying when you're in your 50s, but those are the things that start to happen. The people are like, when you even get to my age, you notice like people are getting like sick, and people are, you know, life becomes very fucking real very quick as you get older. And I can only imagine, like, these are the things that start to happen in your 50s. One of your friends' husbands dropped dead all of a sudden. Everyone has to deal with it. Everyone has to deal with the thought of that happening to them. And I think that the only person they could kill was Big. I think that if it happened to Steve, wouldn't really slap that much. We already had the Steve affair. It didn't really make a difference. Harry, who gives a fuck? Lovely character, lovely guy, perfect for Charlotte. But it wouldn't, like, if Harry died, like, would we really care? No, it wouldn't make the show. It would be sad for an episode, but it wouldn't make the show. Big had to die. I know, but he did, trust me. In order for the show to fucking bring us real issues that women go through in dating now, especially older women. Like, when do we have this like representation of older women on TV navigating not just Gen Z issues, but like dating? I think it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited for it. I think that it was a ballsy choice, absolutely. And look, I'm a Big girl. I'm obsessed with Big. I would have loved to have another few episodes of them dancing around, listening to jazz in their fucking kitchen. But it's not going to be as insane. We're not going to, like, and you know, my friend Julia said to me, she's like, he could have just had the heart attack. I'm like, no, he had to die. Why? He has the heart attack. She's just sad. and she heals him back to health. It's nothing. They can't divorce, because then it's just like, oh, they didn't work out. No. Carrie and Big being happy, having these 10 years, whatever it's been since the last movie, 10, 15 years of happiness, of from what presumably was a lovely marriage, them having that, and now her world being turned upside down for us to tune in, that's the show. Okay, now I'm going to talk about, obviously, the other elephant in the room, the Samantha-shaped elephant. Kim Cattrall, obviously, we all know what happened. Whatever, don't need to recap on that. How they dealt with it. Ooh, okay, it was vicious. I was talking to James about this. It was like, he said that it felt like you were listening like in on Cynthia Nixon and Sarah Jessica Parker talk about Kim Cattrall, and it was like awkward almost. I kind of agree. I felt like Sarah Jessica Parker's ego showed a little bit in that scene. I felt like she couldn't take an L, that she had to be, she kind of had to like make herself out to sound like the hero. As in, like, she had to be kind of like, oh, like, I had to fire Samantha, it just made the most sense for me, and like, she then like stormed off and like wouldn't talk to me, and she's like blanking me, and she's blanking you, and it was just a bit like, like that wouldn't happen with Samantha. Samantha was the drop it all and come to your side friend. We saw that time and time again in the show. So, you know, Samantha not turning up to the funeral, although from a production point of view, well, what are they going to do? Like CGI Kim Cattrall in there? They can't do it. So I understand why she didn't turn up, but maybe just don't even mention Samantha. Although, I guess, I mean, I'm just trying to think of how I would do it from a production side. From a storyline side, though, Samantha would always turn up to her fucking old best friend's husband's sudden death. Like, come on. So, look, they dealt with the situation as best they could. What else were they going to really do? I think it was good that they addressed it quick. I think it's like, it was sad. I did kind of go, when she was like, I thought we were all going to be friends forever, because I was thinking of that scene of them, like, you know, when they were like walking down Times Square and there's like a picture of them or some shit like that. I was like, oh, that is sad. But in the end, that is the reality. Sometimes you think you're going to be friends with someone forever, and it doesn't happen, guys. Sorry, spoiler alert. So I think I'm talking about everything. I did find it funny that like she had like a Kimye kind of funeral for him. And I think she was right. That would have been Big's funeral. I bawled at the funeral. I fucking bawled. I was in here like literally like this with tears streaming down my eyes. Evan was asleep. I was loving life. I'm excited for where it's going to go. A lot of rumors that Miranda's going to have an affair with Shay, which I would find a weird storyline. Because I understand that, like, I've heard rumors that, like, Cynthia Nixon wants, like, Miranda's character to almost kind of, like, not replicate, but, like, to mirror her life. And obviously Cynthia Nixon had a child and then left her husband or partner for a woman. But I'm like, I just don't know if, like, Miranda would, like, live all of these years, go through an affair, like, Steve having an affair, and it takes, like, Carrie's non-binary podcast host to sweep her off her feet. But they did have chemistry. They had chemistry, and I thought it was funny that like Miranda's kind of this Karen. Like, I thought that was kind of a funny, like, she's like, stop smoking weed, and like, she's kind of this like stuck up alco. She's definitely going to be like an alco, because she's like constantly ordering those glasses of Chablis. So yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes. I don't know if I'm gonna like fully be like, I just don't know if it makes sense for the character for Miranda. It's a bit on the nose to be like, oh, Cynthia Nixon became a lesbian, so now like Miranda's gonna like leave Steve for Shay. I don't know, it could be interesting. But there are my predictions. Let me know what your predictions are. I'm excited to see like the whole like dealing with grief. I'm excited to see like, will Carrie be out dating again? Like, that's going to be interesting. Are we going to hear any more on the Samantha storyline? I heard that they also filmed some scenes in Paris with Chris Noth, and some people are saying that they did this to throw the scent off, but others are saying, oh, maybe there's going to be like flashbacks. I think that would be nice. I would like to see more of Chris Noth. But yeah, let me know in the comments, did you like it? did your opinion change as the days went on? At first I was shell-shocked, but now I'm really excited for it. Either way, like, come on, what a show. You can't not love it. But yeah, subscribe to my channel, guys. And there'll be another video next week. I'll probably take the week after that off because it's Christmas, but see you later.